This whole thing's worldwide. There's nowhere to run. It's coming to every single country. We've got to dismiss this government by any means possible and get ourselves back to a point of safety. It's time to call things for what they are. You can't offer an opinion anymore. Anything you say against the government is deemed incitement, when the very government itself are the ones who are inciting the people of the country into revolution. And ultimately, that's what we need. We need everybody in every country to simply say, hey, enough is enough. We've realised now that you're all working together. You're one big family. The entire international political system is one big family. That's why you're all acting in lockstep. That needs to happen in every single country, brother. And that's really the only way out of this mess, to say enough is enough. No, we're not going to comply anymore. Cognitive dissonance and Stockholm syndrome, brother. We got the whole world, well, most of Australia suffering from Stockholm syndrome. They actually believe the government is their friend, and they're not. You're in an abusive relationship, people. It's an absolute abusive relationship that we've got with government.
We are certainly living in the craziest of times, and it's a really important time, folks. It's actually a really empowering time if you look at it through the right type of eyes. The world that we're heading into, or they're trying to head us into, is going to be a dystopia of the next level. We're literally standing right at the gates of hell with what they want to unfold and what they want to roll out with this whole surveillance and tracking grid that they're putting in place. And this is something that I've been warning people about for a long time. And it's just going to get worse. It's going to get pretty crazy over the next few months, folks. So you've got to be pretty much getting into survival mode about now. I've been warning people of this for a long time, saying that, it's all very well to wake people up, and we've got to continue to do that. But also you need to have a plan B. You need to be prepared to hunker down and weather the storm that's coming, because there is certainly a storm that's coming. It's really getting to the point now that the only hope we have is non-compliance. This needs to happen in every country, folks. I mean, we still have a mechanism here, like a legal mechanism, as corrupt as it is. We still can use elements of it and realise that the politicians can't legislate themselves to be above the law. If they have, well, it's invalid. That's just an abuse of office. That's just using the office that they hold to delegate themselves powers they have no right to have. Ultimately, they're just people, members of our society like everybody else. And if they're going to make laws, then they should be subject to the same laws. Really, we need to be bringing it back to common law, I would say, if we're going to have any law at all. Natural law would be better, but that might be too much of a radical step for a lot of people. But, looking at the parameters of law and for people who think the legal system is real, expressing a loss of confidence in our government and demanding their resignation, and then holding referendums to elect new people into positions of power, people of integrity, who will reduce the size of government and, lead us back to a point of safety, is the first step that we need to do. And everybody needs to do this. I mean, I don't know how anybody could have any confidence in any politician after all this rubbish that we've seen anyway. I mean, how could you have any confidence in these people? How can you have confidence in the media to be telling you the truth, or any politician to be telling you the truth, when all this has just happened? I don't think there's anybody in any side of any political arena, not even any independent politicians, really. Nobody who's ever in power or has been in power has done the right thing. It simply hasn't happened in the history of government, because it's a closed shop. It's a, let's scratch each other's back club. That's what it is. And they get their friends in there and they groom these people since childhood and right through school and through the education system and through the college system. They create their little secret societies, they get people involved, and that's the way it goes. I mean, even when you look at the secret societies that the British politicians have been in, when you've got to go and burn a £50 note in front of a homeless person and all this sort of stuff, and the adventures with the pig that we all know about. I mean, this is the sort of people that we're dealing with, and that's the sort of political system that we've got. So you're not going to find any hope from that system. But by the same token, there is what is supposed to be the rule of law, and there are definitely laws in there that we can use to apply to our politicians, because ultimately they've all committed treason. Every single one of them, folks. And as I've said for years, people have to stop looking at the world as competing nations and competing governments, and realise that what we've got here is a multinational, multi-generational criminal cabal masquerading as a system of international governments and nations, and they all work together and they pit each country off against each other. I think they're going to go to a new level of crazy, to be honest, which is why I think people should be pretty much getting into survival mode now. And as I said, it's an opportunity. This is a huge opportunity for freedom, because the more they do this, the more people are waking up. And it's going to get to a point that, people are going to see the writing on the wall. And I think when that happens, the politicians are going to find themselves in a world of trouble. And so is the media. We have an opportunity to create a really good world here. We have an opportunity to free the entire human race here, if people can get some focus. And it's time for people to put down all their stuff with everybody else. Doesn't matter what anybody did at this point, folks. Doesn't matter whether they've said the wrong thing here, they've done the wrong thing there. It doesn't matter. If people know this is a scam and they have the focus on freedom, then they're our friend. And we need to put all of this other petty stuff aside. We really do. Doesn't matter what people believe. Doesn't matter who they believe they are. Doesn't matter what they believe the earth is. Doesn't matter about any of it right now. What matters is freedom. And we need to get some focus on that. We need to unite as one human family. Not one human nation, not one new world order or anything like that, but simply one human family with respect for each other's beliefs. It's okay for you to think completely different to me about whatever you want to think about. I don't care. All I care about is the fact that you're safe and you're happy and that you are free to explore yourself and to reach the fullest of your potential, because that's really what life is about. In Lakesh, you are my brother, you are my sister. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter what you believe. What matters is that we face a clear and present danger from people we elected into positions of trust that are supposed to be there to manage our infrastructure for us in a responsible manner. The one thing they're depending on is that we keep fighting with each other. We keep arguing over our belief systems. When we hear good information from someone, we go, well, he said something else reasonably earlier on, and so, we need to distrust him. People who do that, just get the information. If it's good information, get that information and run with that information. Doesn't matter what he did, doesn't matter what they said. What matters is that we deal with the clear and present danger that we face. So that's what people have to do. Now's the time, folks. Now's the time for freedom. Now's the time for a unity of spirit. Sure, absolute diversity of consciousness, because we are all different. We are all completely unique, every single person. No one will ever see the world the way you do. No one will ever be able to look at reality through your eyes. But that doesn't matter. You're still my brother, and I still want unity with you. I still want a unity of focus, a focus towards freedom. Because once we overcome this hump, there could be a really, really beautiful world waiting for us on the other side. But that's going to depend on what we do now. It's going to depend on how prepared we are to put our egos down, to disregard whatever we believe to be true at the moment, because, ultimately we don't know with a lot of this stuff. We're not free enough to know. And that's the problem with the whole truth movement, which I think is a loaded term as well, because the truth is no one really knows what the truth is. They might know some certain little truths, but the ultimate truth, what is that? And the problem is that we don't have the freedom to find out, because we're always arguing with each other over what we think the truth is. It's time we got over that, put our egos down, establish freedom, and then the truth will become apparent for all to see. We all need to lift our voices. We all need to really push this forward. We all need to shine our lights as brightly as we possibly can.